Welcome to the weekend edition of Your Morning.
We have a great show for you today, including a chat on some low-key businesses and how they can be extremely profitable.
Plus, we'll explore the world of grief and look into why everyone's journey with it is different.
But first, how Niagara Falls, one of Canada's most popular tourist spots, is feeling the drop in visitors because of the trade war. Our Canadian tourism industry is feeling the effects of less American visitors this summer, some of which is being blamed on tariffs. Statistics Canada shows that cross-border travel to Canada by Americans was down 8.4% in May. That's compared to the year before. And one region that's really feeling this is Niagara Falls. Bri Taylor is Chief Operating Officer of City Cruises Canada. They operate popular sightseeing attractions in that region, and he's joining us this morning with more about the changes that he's seeing as we show you a live look at Niagara Falls this morning from the Canadian side. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So how have you seen your business change this summer?
Well, clearly there's a difference in the travel patterns. Our offices are located right under the Rainbow Bridge, so we see it live firsthand every day. And of course, you know, when there's lots of traffic on the bridge, we're happy about that. But nevertheless, this year, definitely a change in the American travel sentiment. Now, there are still many Americans traveling here, but it's definitely different this year. It's probably soft to the tune of about 10%, and different stakeholders and different attractions will have a different number. But, you know, what we track is more the actual passenger counts on the vessels, and you can kind of track through various information of country of origin. So we definitely know that it is definitely soft, and it definitely is not nice.
Yeah, well, okay, describe what not nice means for you, Bri.
Well, in terms of you know, being able to entertain or create amazing experiences for millions of visitors a year, you know, that's something that we do and we thrive on, and everyone is tuned into that. And we've been doing it successful for so many years. And when you're not able to do that and show your best, you're still giving everyone that amazing experience, but you know you can do more. So really, you're contributing to the community. You're contributing to, you know, the Ministry of Tourism and all the tourism jobs that rely on what we are, and that's Canada's #1 tourist attraction. We know the part we play and the importance of that in Niagara Falls and in the Niagara region and to Canada as well. So we're sad that we're not able to do that this year, although it is still a spectacular year. I don't want to self-sell it. But nevertheless, the amount of Americans that are not here is definitely noticeable, and we definitely miss them.
Yeah, and you notice it. And as you point out, Bri, I mean, you are a stone's throw from where everything is happening. You really are on the front lines. When did you start to notice this drop in Americans crossing the border? And did it correlate with tariffs starting to kick in?
You know, it started probably before that. We noticed, because we track our pre-season sales, so we can get an idea of what the season's going to be based on the tour and travel trade industry. So we see what series and what tickets have been booked ahead of the season. So, you know, in January, February, March, we can kind of start to see things wobble a little bit. And while we were very optimistic and hopeful, we were thinking that, oh, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. But then when it started to unravel and unfold, then you really got a good idea of what some of those detractors were. And of course, we do all kinds of data mining and surveys and analytics. I mean, there's a team of you know, spreadsheet geniuses that figures this stuff out, which we rely heavily on. And that information is valuable to us. So you can really see consumer sentiment, the intent and consideration of where people plan to travel, and, you know, what alternate plans they may have. So we really knew early in the season that this is kind of going to be a little bit of a wobble this year.
I mean, I love data as much as the next person, but you've got the best data gathering, which is you get to talk to American customers firsthand. So what are you hearing from them? What are they saying to you?
You're so right. I actually make it a habit of traveling because, like I said, our offices are located under the Rainbow Bridge, the plaza. And so I walk from our office, and I'll walk down to the boat tour, take the elevator down. I'll walk all the way to Table Rock and, you know, kind of get my steps in, right? But in doing so, you get to really understand who and where people are and where they're from, what their concepts and what their thoughts are. Because you chat. I'm a chatty person. It's what I've been doing for 30 years. So yeah, people that are here love that they're here. They're supportive of Canada. It's almost like they're apologetic. It's kind of a reverse role. Instead of Canadians saying, you know, being sorry, and it's great. It's wonderful. We you know, especially with Americans, we've been neighbors by chance, friends by choice for hundreds of years. I think the relationship is wonderful, and I think at the administrative level they need to work some things out. But regular, you know, Joe and Jane that is crossing the border or coming to visit Canada, they understand. We're on the same page. We all sit around the same kitchen table and make those decisions.
It's interesting that you point out that about saying sorry. I've heard that anecdotally from other people and experienced it myself. When you bump into an American on the Canadian side of the border, very often they'll say to you, hey, we're really sorry.
Yes, that is so true. And I will travel into the American side as well quite often for business. And you kind of, I'm always on the self-promote and tell everybody what we do and where I am. And yeah, you get the sentiment that not everybody's kind of on the same page there. And those folks that have decided to stay home, it's no slight against them. They've made the decision. They want to support their country, and that's okay. We respect that. Canadians are doing the same thing. We've seen a spike in Canadian visitation, particularly this year, which is great for us. We're appreciative of that. And I think it's going to pay dividends in the long run, because you kind of saw this at COVID a little bit, where people stayed home, the staycation, and they kind of remembered, oh yeah, there's Niagara Falls. Let's take the family, the kids, the grandparents, the visitors. So now that's kind of rolling. The percentage of Canadians that are visiting Niagara Falls has definitely increased in the last number of years.
Well, that could be seen as a positive. Maury, I can tell a couple things about you. One, that you truly are a chatty person, and two, in the best way, you are very proud of that part of Canada, and you love to show it off and to host people there. Great to meet you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Coming up, how artificial intelligence can be used as a tool for people experiencing infertility.
I want to give a trigger warning to our viewers. This next segment deals with themes around infant death and grieving. 27 years ago, Tanya Chomik's son, Danilo, died from sudden unexplained death syndrome at just 6 months old. Tanya went through unimaginable grief, but it propelled her to help others, and she's doing so through her upcoming memoir called Bringing Light to Loss. Now Tanya works as a life transition expert and grief educator, and she joins me this morning from Montreal with more on her journey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Everyone has their own journey when dealing with grief. So my question for you is, how did it show up for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, it showed up very sudden. Honestly, it was a very shattering moment, and a kind of moment that just steals your breath away. It's something that totally caught me, completely off guard. And my son Danilo was 6 months old. He passed away in his sleep, and it was from a sudden unexplained death syndrome, which is something that normally happens when a child is sleeping, and usually it's associated to a condition, arrhythmia in the heart, and so this is why they call it sudden unexplained, because there is an underlying condition, but it's still something that just catches you completely off guard, and that's what happened. So it shattered my life, and it gave me at least moments where I needed to reflect and needed to heal and needed to feel all those emotions as I continued to carry on with life.
Grief timelines vary so much person to person. You'll hear someone say the first year is the hardest, and then someone else will say, no, the second year is the hardest, or you hear the line, with time, things start to feel normal or feel better. And I give air quotes to that because I don't know that there is a normal versus a not normal. What are your thoughts on grief timelines?
So first of all, grief is universal, and it's also very personal, and there is no timeline. It doesn't follow a timeline. It's not linear. There's all kinds of stages of grief that one is going to go through, and they come back, and it changes over time. Sometimes it could be just a moment, a trigger, a song that will bring it back. And even after all these years, there's still going to be those moments. Another thing is that we don't want the person, the loved one, to be forgotten. So hearing their name brings a certain amount of comfort. And so all these things, when you think about the timeline, is that it's endless. Grief doesn't go away. It just transforms into something else. It becomes a little bit more lighter, I'd say, but it also depends with what we do with that time. So time, they say, heals all wounds, but it's what you do with that time and how you continue to carry forward with it. But there's never a timeline for grief, and it doesn't end.
The grieving process is so personal, but it also involves the people around us. And I think as a support person, it can feel difficult to know what to say and what not to say. So what advice would you give here? What are common things that we say to grieving people that maybe we shouldn't?
Right. So, I mean, we normally start with the typical human response, which is, I'm sorry for your loss. And I know this is a difficult time for you, but phrases like, if you need me, let me know, it kind of leaves the bereaved person with having to respond to that. And chances are they're not going to. So phrases like, they're in a better place now, and this was all part of God's plans. Those are spiritual responses that a person who's bereaving does not want to hear at that time. It's when you're going through that acute grief, those are not things that you want to hear. But in time, you'll appreciate the significance of what they mean.
Tanya, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show today and sharing your journey with all of us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Going through a fertility journey can feel isolating and confusing. Here in Canada, 1 in 6 couples experience infertility, and one round of IVF costs up to $11,000 or more. But a new breakthrough in AI technology and utilization could change this, making the dream of parenthood more accessible for many couples across the country. So here to talk about how AI is used in infertility and healthcare is AI curriculum developer Shania Bopa. Welcome.
Thank you.
There was a recent story published about a couple who successfully used AI in their process. Could you share with us at what point in the journey is AI brought in, and how successful has it been?
Yeah, this is an exciting story because this couple experienced infertility for 18 years, went through 15 failed IVF cycles. And essentially how the process worked with the STAR technology is it examined semen at a very rapid rate to find the most viable sperm cells. And typically a human is looking under a very specific microscope, and it took the lab 2 days to find 0 sperm cells in the semen sample, but it took the STAR tool an hour just to find 3 to 4 viable sperm. And the couple is now pregnant, 4 months pregnant, after a successful IVF cycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that it's being used in fertility care?
3 specific ways right now. One is precision medicine. So we are seeing more precise, more personalized options for patients with various diagnostic spectrums. Number 2 is it's offering people at home to track their ovulation with tools.
How does that
like,
work?
for example, an app called Flow. It allows you to share your data and track your cycle, and it'll helpfully predict when you are ovulating next and help you kind of track your next steps.
Well, it's interesting. I'm familiar with the Flow app, but I hadn't thought of it as an AI application.
Predictive AI models are trained on large data sets and patient data that might be similar to yours, so it is more specific than ever before.
If we know that IVF sessions, we know that they're expensive. Aside from the emotional toll that it takes on individuals and on couples, how does AI cut down on the costs of IVF, which make it inaccessible for a lot of families?
Yeah, I completely can see that. I was an IVF patient myself. I froze my eggs a few years ago, and saving up for it is just a burden in and of itself. But if we are more precise with how we are offering various methods, for example, let's say a patient comes in and IUI, which is significantly cheaper than IVF, is a better option because AI tools have allowed us to track their data based on various data sets and make sure that it's the right fit for that patient. They've now cut down the cost by half versus just skipping forward to IVF.
So what should women and families know about using AI tools in fertility care? What are some of the cautions and flags?
First is know the scope in which you're asking AI chat boxes at home and how to curate the best questions possible. So let's say you're a patient and you have endometriosis and you're 26 and you know you don't want children till you're 35. Tell your ChatGPT or your Copilot all those details before you curate a list of questions to bring to your physician so they're as specific as possible. And second is understanding bias. Research inherently isn't as inclusive as we'd like it to be. And as a scientist myself, I think it's an important field that we're working towards more EDI. But understanding that bias when you are receiving the stats, when you are receiving that information and critically asking those questions to your doctor how inclusive is this statistic?
Yeah.
Is that statistic inclusive of someone like me?
Well, you bring up a good point, because this is my thought when we're getting, lists of questions from ChatGPT, is we know about bias. That also goes into the background of anything that is AI generated. There are those bias built in as well.
Unfortunately, right? Because we are feeding these AI models with research. And who conducted the research? Humans. And humans are biased.
This is fascinating conversation and very exciting. Congratulations, by the way, on your recent completion of your PhD.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Ahead on Your Morning, how a practical, low-profile business can bring in exciting cash.
If you're looking for something to make you laugh, our next guest might be able to help you out. Bong and Yasuda are stand-up comedians in the middle of a cross-Canada tour, and this morning, their first order of business is waking up at the crack of dawn and joining us here on Your Morning. Guys, great to have you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Okay, so first of all, thank you for getting up early. I think I just blew both of your minds telling you my wake-up time.
Yes, two.
Way too early.
You cannot believe it. He just wake up at
Like 10 minutes ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So is this way outside of your normal hours to be up this early?
Oh,
Yeah, it's like 4 hours early.
4 hours earlier?
10 hours. 'Cause
10 hours?
we start working at 8 in the p.m.
This is Japanese hour. It's a Korean hour. It's different.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, we're really appreciative that you guys are up this early.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. You guys have very different styles of comedy because you have very different energies.
Okay.
So one of you I've heard describe more high energy, the other is deadpan.
Right.
So how would each of you describe your comedy style?
Guess which one's deadpan? Guess-
You?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you?
I don't know.
Both of you?
Which one is who? Which was who?
What would you say? Kante, what would you say your style is?
I'm a dep. I don't want to say it myself. I'm slower.
Slower.
Way slower. And then he's like really fast.
Fast. He has a more like slow cadence,
Yeah.
building up, like a sneak into their like house, and they're like, here we go.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, here, get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you guys prep for a show like this? Because I imagine that there's got to be a certain amount of authenticity that goes into the moment where it's got to feel fresh, but you also have to know if the joke is going to hit and it's going to be funny. So how do you find that balance with preparation?
You gotta like just go on a set a lot before you go on a tour. So you try it in front of different audience and then keep like throwing the jokes, and then if they laughed, okay, this is a point, and then from that point you keep building up another laugh points. Yeah.
Do you know like when the joke has peaked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Kind of know, like, but still there is a possibility of the development. So you just kept going, and then at a certain point you feel like, oh my God, I cannot do this joke anymore because we did it enough. I'm like, okay,
Time to move on.
let it go. Yeah.
Move on. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, I think so. Well, when I try to prepare, I always think about my like upbringing, like life, and because my family have a lot of secret and stuff, so it's like that. Kind of talk about the family secret, yeah.
You just tell everybody?
I just tell everybody family secret. Yeah, like I'm half Korean, but I didn't know that until I was 15.
Really?
Yeah. And as soon as I knew it, as soon as I became a comedian, I just started telling everybody.
You just let it all out of bed.
Yeah.
What does your family say about that?
Very mad. Yeah. And there's like I just found out there's like a family member in Canada.
Really?
Secret family member.
Have they been telling everybody that you've been doing this?
No, they don't know. They don't know me.
They don't know you?
I just have their name. Like, can I say it?
Yeah, a lot of secrets. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of secrets.
Hit me up in my Instagram, Sok Lee.
Yeah.
He's probably like 95 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
His
me
name
up.
is Sok Lee. Yeah. It's like a Sok Lee in Korean, but it's like sounds different in English.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when audiences come to your show, you guys were telling me that you've been kind of all over Ontario so far. You've been to Sault Ste. Marie, to Thunder
Right.
Bay, to Windsor. When audience come to the show, what can they expect to see from the two of you?
It's very Asian point of view, but at the same time, like, is our individual viewpoint is very different because we are Asians, came from directly Asia, not born and raised here.
Fresh.
Yeah, very fresh. So he thinks in a like really Japanese way. I'm thinking in a really Korean way. You know, for example, there are a lot of like, our audience are weirdly a lot of white people. And then I'm thinking, this is 1980s Canada.
That's amazing.
Immigration just started.
So you guys must be having a great time. With
Yeah,
this
we
tour.
are having a
Oh,
really
I love
great
the
time.
small
yeah.
cities, just hanging out with people over there. It's always amazing. Yeah.
And then when we go there, like they're our fans, and then they love us, so they try to pretend as Asian as they like.
As they can be?
Yeah, they can be like.
They go,
Oh my God.
I know how to use chopstick. I'm like, I love this.
Well, I'm glad you guys are having a great time. I'm glad you woke up early for us this morning, and we're
Thank you.
thankful that you're here today.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem. Thank you so much.
Car washes, laundromats, storage centers may not sound like the hot, trendy careers for young Canadians, but they are quickly gaining in popularity.
Most of my friends that are multimillionaires own boring businesses, and it made me realize that boring businesses don't make boring money. See, while most people are
These so-called boring businesses provide reliable services for predictable demand, and now videos about owning one are getting millions of views, with some now calling this a new career trend. For more on what it takes to run a boring business like this, we are joined by Sean Wise, professor of entrepreneurship at Toronto Metropolitan University. I love that, and I saw you laughing as well, Sean, when she says boring business, not boring money. Why are we seeing this surge of interest in these kinds of businesses, in particular with the way that work and careers are trending right now?
Well, I think you've hit it right on the head. Being entrepreneurial is the key in most young people's minds. I think employment is less and less available and is working for someone else. And the idea of working for yourself has always been a young person's dream. But the issue is that you have to choose what is that business you're going to run. And you can choose a boring business or a startup business. And that's something we're seeing more and more students interested in.
We're sharing video right now of vending machines, which is also on that list of these businesses.
Absolutely.
Some people are running them as a side hustle. Others do it as a full-time job. I guess, first of all, break this down for us. What are the profit margins of running something like this with predictable demand?
Well, the key is predictable demand. So a little money every day is better than the possible money once a year. And so you can have smaller margins, even under 10%, and still run a very solid, boring business. But as always, better margins is usually better profit.
Experts are warning, however, against some of the online narratives around these kinds of businesses. So let's walk through them with you. What are some of the biggest misconceptions? It's not as easy as they paint it to be.
Well, it never is. Being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 job. It involves your spouse and all the stakeholders in your house. It involves your customers, your employees. I think the big difference, though, and I think the key focus for people is around uncertainty. A boring business has less uncertainty than a startup. A boring business knows its business model, how it makes money, who it makes money from, whereas a startup is trying to figure that out. So it might be boring, but it still takes work. Because you know your business model, all your focus is on execution and delivering on that value that's already proven to be needed.
And it still needs maintenance, things like a car wash or a laundromat or a vending machine. Those things are still baked in.
Yeah, nothing grows without care. You're just moving from a hunter model where you're looking for one big win as a startup to a farmer model where you get up every day and you put in the hours and you grow a beautiful crop and it makes you a lot of money.
I love that analogy. The number of businesses that are up for grabs in Canada is expected to increase. A 2023 report from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business found that 76% of business owners plan to retire within the next decade. That's a lot of gaps. What advice would you give people who are considering buying one of these businesses?
So first, congratulations. I think you've spotted a huge trend. My colleagues in the family business area tell me that succession planning is a huge problem. People who own 3 or 4 laundromats, their children don't want to take it over. And that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for new entrepreneurs who want to get onto a family business and convert it into a business. But what they have to be wary of is paying all up front. The best due diligence you can do before acquiring a business is working for a business. Work for a business for a year as an employee, and you'll be a better owner at the end of that year.
Right, and you highlight something that's really important, which is the fact that, yes, people have made these profit margins, but they've put the money in and they've put in the time. So when you are buying them now, you're buying all of that initial investment as well.
you're also getting that it's an owner-run business. And so if you buy them out on day one, on day two, they may not be available. They may be in Florida or Costa Rica or somewhere where they're not going to be wanting to pay attention. It's much better to develop a long-term relationship, help them have succession, buy the business over 5 years, work for the business with the owner. That way you get a seamless transition and you increase the probability that you'll be able to generate the same monies that the prior owner did.
Great insight and advice this morning. Thanks for joining us, Sean.
Thanks so much. Enjoy your day.
Coming up next week on Your Morning, we get the scoop on the hottest new back-to-school tech for all ages.
Welcome back to Your Morning Weekend. We hope you've been having a great start to your day.
Coming up, we're going to hear from a rising country star, Bri Taylor. She talks to us about her newest single.
Plus, we get a sneak peek at a short film that will debut at the Toronto International Film Festival next month.
But first, a look at the alarming rise of misconduct and assault complaints connected to rideshare services. U.S. reports show that high rates of misconduct and sexual assault complaints on rideshare apps like Uber and Lyft. According to the New York Times, one report of misconduct or sexual assault is filed every 8 minutes. When you put those scenario up here in Canada, at least 5 rideshare drivers have been arrested in connection with a sexual assault. That's since 2023. For more on this, we're joined by Ivana Iwasaki. She is a civil sexual survivors lawyer. A civil sexual abuse survivors lawyer. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How many cases like this have you seen?
We've seen a small number of them. They frequently don't get reported all the way up to us. They mostly get reported internally, is our understanding. But when they do get reported up to us, it's because something fairly serious has happened.
We set this up by talking about rideshare apps, and that's what this article had looked at as well. But does this happen with the taxi service as well, or at the same rate?
I'm not sure if it's at the same rate. We just don't have that kind of data available to us, but it does. We know that it does happen, and we know that cases, again, have been quite serious when they are in taxis as well.
You know, when you bring this topic up, everybody's got a story, including us here at Your Morning with staff members. So why are these companies failing to keep customers safe?
We think it's partly because the companies don't want to take responsibility for their actions of their quote unquote employees, agents, or independent contractors. There is some case law that says that taxi companies are not actually putting taxi drivers in a position of intimacy, control, and authority over the passengers, which frankly, I don't know that I would agree with. Given the circumstances, the taxi driver or the rideshare driver does have control over the person in that they are driving them to a specific location and they have control over the vehicle.
It is.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
What needs to happen then with transparency measures?
There definitely needs to be some sort of reporting on at least driver profiles, if not on the public company's website, indicating any founded complaints that have been made against a driver, so individuals can make informed choices before they enter into a rideshare or taxi.
At least one of the rideshare apps, rebutted by, showing some data and some graphs saying, look, it's only a very small percentage of times that this happens. What are your concerns with their response? What does that show you?
That shows me that they're probably not reporting the full number of cases that are out there. They're trying to handle them internally, is our understanding, and keep things private, probably for a business legitimate reason, but that's not really focused on public safety.
In the meantime, what advice do you have for passengers who, are using a rideshare app or maybe in a position where they've been made to feel uncomfortable or worse?
Yeah, my first piece of advice is to trust your instincts. Sometimes you can get a bad vibe about a circumstance. It's okay to cancel the ride, take the hit to your profile, decline to go into the rideshare in the first place. Trust your own instincts. And then if something's going wrong during the ride, like the driver is veering off or you're not sure where they're going, it's the same sort of thing. Stop the ride, get out, don't feel embarrassed for protecting your own safety.
I want to thank you for joining us, Ivana Iwasaki. She's a civil sexual abuse survivors lawyer. Good morning. Coming up, Bri Taylor tells us what sets her apart from others on the country music scene.
Bri Taylor has more than 2 million streams. She is a country artist and her star is on the rise. We are lucky enough to have Bri Taylor make time for us in the Your Morning studio today. Great to have you in, Bri. Great to meet you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
You have shared online that you are not your typical country girl. So what makes you different? How do you describe your sound?
I'm very alternative for country, so that's why I say I'm not your typical country girl. It kind of kept me out of country for a long time because I didn't feel like there was a place for me to fit. But yeah, I'm a little more rock alternative to the country scene, and it's been going well, so I'm glad people are liking the music.
You described to me off air that you got your start in pop music, but you were like born into music. Can you share that story that you shared with me?
Yeah, I was born to music in the delivery room. My parents are really big music fans. My dad had made a mixtape, and James Taylor was prominently featured on there, and my doctor was Dr. Taylor, so that's kind of how I got my middle name.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And now you're making a name for yourself. Your latest single, Wake Up, takes us on a journey. Here's the sample.
Saw you kiss her on a Tuesday, but you call me on the daily, so easy to see right through.
So you are a songwriter, and you've shared that your music is autobiographical. So when you're writing a song like this, how do you know what to include? How far do you go? Is that, like, I gotta imagine that feels very vulnerable to put it all out there.
Yeah, I feel like the more vulnerable I've been in my music, the more I've heard from listeners that they really connect and relate to it. So I feel like sharing my part of my story and my personal experiences is like one of my superpowers. So it's the one thing as a songwriter, you're always very vulnerable, and you have to be, and I think that's when you get the most honest music.
Have you heard from people who recognize their relationship with you in the songs?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, what do they say?
Oh, well, I mean, my last single, I Regret You, was very much about a narcissistic, abusive relationship, and people reaching out to me, telling me that it really meant a lot to them, that I was bringing that awareness out into the forefront was a really big thing. So the connection that they had with that song really, really hit home for me too.
You've shared that you have a hearing impairment. So
Yes.
what kind of impact does that have for you both on and off the stage?
Definitely on stage, it's something I've had to adapt to. So wearing in-ear monitors, being able to hear myself, getting a great mix on stage live is really important. But I wear hearing aids on a day-to-day basis, like I'm wearing them now talking to you. So it's something that I'm able to, keep going through life, and I didn't want to let anything hold me back. So I'm just, resilient that way.
No, I love that. I love that someone could be watching right now thinking like, wait a second, there is a place for me.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to tell everyone and let them get that message from what I'm doing.
You got to play CMA Fest this year, which is huge. There are big names there like Luke Bryan, Keith Urban. What was that like for you?
It was honestly a dream come true. It was probably one of the biggest pinch me moments so far in my career. It's something that all of us independent artists really dream about. And yeah, it was amazing. It was such a great experience. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
I don't know that people at home know how much of a hustle it is to be an independent artist. What is that like for you on a daily, to be able to make this a career for you, but knowing that you are doing this on your own?
It's, I have a lot of support. My family is really supportive, and I have a lot of really great friends and people in the industry that you become friends with as you navigate this together. So it's a really big piece of my journey, and it's just it's a blessing, and I love every aspect of what we do as an artist. So everything from these kind of interviews to being in the studio to writing music to being on stage, I love it all. So it's just a dream come true, really.
You should be very proud of the work that you put in, because it's pretty awesome. We're proud to have you here. You are from Canada. You are making a name for yourself, not only in the country scene, but here at home. So congratulations so far.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
keep
you.
in touch.
Well, keep watching. This isn't exactly the happiest birthday party.
ഞാനൊട്ട് சொல்ல வேணும் சொல்லி முடிக்கிற வரைக்கும் ஒரு சத்தம் வரக்கூடாது.
So Kurupi is an upcoming short where the matriarch of a Tamil family announces at her own birthday party she's going to be ending her life by the end of the night. It's by Tamil-Canadian director and writer Kalainathan Kalechelvan and confronts dysfunctional family dynamics. And the film makes its world premiere at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, this September. And Kalainathan is here with us this morning. Welcome.
Yeah.
Dark humor, exactly what I love.
Me too. Me too.
Your goal in this film was to challenge the silence that we can sometimes experience, especially in South Asian families, around really big topics like mental health and generational trauma. What made you want to tell the story through this lens, through this character?
I mean, the amount of times that I've been at family gatherings and thought, I can just film this and it would make a great film. I mean, one, entertaining just because of the different personalities in my family, but also just the way people communicate regarding certain subject matters and the things they dance around. I think just seeing that, I thought, if I can take that and just do a version of that in this film. And myself, there's things that as close as I am with my family, it's just things that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And it's because of that sort of culture of silence that's there regarding.
Do you talk about them now that you've made this film, or they're still a no-go?
Maybe if I screened the film to them a few more times, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, okay, speaking of family, your brother did the
Yes.
music for this film. You've worked on projects together in the past.
Yeah.
How does it help to have somebody who's so close to you, who understands family in the same way that you do, work on this project?
It helps a lot, because right from the beginning, he knows exactly what we're trying to do. And
Yeah.
he is a composer on the project, but he's there right from the beginning. He'll be the first person I show the script to. And so he's as closely a part of the conception of the project. But it's just great to have an ally that we both know exactly what this film should be, and we're talking about it throughout the entire time. And then because we're so comfortable with each other, there's a lot of room to explore and be free. So he has a lot of space to try new things.
And you mentioned that your sister's not directly involved, but
No.
you rope her in.
I rope her in. She's very honest. So if she doesn't like something, really, if I can get her excited, I know, okay, maybe there's something that works here.
Oh, I love that. Listen, you've worked on not just shorts, but also on music videos, earning yourself a Juno nomination. Congrats for that. Regardless of all your project, your work is beautifully shot. How would you describe your style?
How would I describe it? I don't know, it's very story specific. I think I try and find stories that excite me and then try and take a bit more of a classical approach to the storytelling. I am very visual, so the visuals are very important to me. I put a lot of time and work into that, but I don't know.
I can see you evaluating your own work as
Yeah,
you're
I
watching
see
it
it playing in the
back
background. Really, from project to project, I'm trying different things.
Did you shoot that in Sri Lanka, or is that green screen?
No, that's all here. That's all a lot of studio work here, actually.
Listen, speaking of Toronto, you are from Toronto. Toronto has a huge Tamil community. What are you expecting in terms of response from the people who are definitely going to come out and watch this at TIFF?
I mean, I wanted to show film with people in a style of film that I don't typically find them in, so that's one thing I was really excited about. And then hopefully being an entertaining film, but also it could spark some level of reflection and maybe open up conversations that aren't normally easy to have, perhaps, within South Asian households.
And what I really like about how you've done this is you've done it through the older generation. And typically when we see that pushing happen, it's through, somebody who's younger, but this is the real catalyst, and it comes from that older generation that tend to keep things locked down.
Yep. I mean, it's a story that it's about conversations across generations. So you have like multiple different, it's a multi-generational portrait. And I think it also kind of inspired by an older person in my family that would talk about there's a big communication gap between them and everybody else around their family.
Interesting.
And that's part of the focus of the film. It's the way they can communicate with, let's say, their granddaughter or grandson is different than the way they can communicate with their daughter or sibling.
For sure. You're from Toronto. What does it mean to have this world premiere happen at TIFF?
A lot. I mean, I love TIFF, and we were actually working on this film last year during TIFF, so it's nice that, I called Sumadi, who plays Kurupi, in between, TIFF screenings and asked her if she could be on this film. So the fact that 1 year later, we get to premiere the film here at its 50th year, no less, it's very exciting. We're all from here, so the fact that we can all celebrate the film together at its premiere.
All of your families must be very proud.
I hope so. You'd have to ask them.
Lots of bragging. Listen, Kalainathan, great to have you here. Great to meet you. Congratulations on the world premiere.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see it. Coming up Monday on Your Morning, we will hit the books before going back to school with author Vicky Van Sickle.
An award-winning Toronto artist and educator is taking her talent into long-term care homes right across this country. Erin Finley started Project Eleanor in response to the isolation and loneliness that many seniors experienced during the pandemic. The project, it's a series of art parties where seniors learn everything from drawing to painting and poetry. Erin is joining us in studio this morning to tell us all about it. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having me.
I just love this idea. Where did the idea of Project Eleanor come from?
Well, it's inspired by my mom. So my mom, Eleanor, passed away over 20 years ago. She, like me, was an artist and a teacher.
Is that the two of you there?
That is.
Oh my goodness.
That is.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And she really believed in art as a kind of community building experience. So my sisters and I, she would gather us together, gather our friends from down the street. My grandparents were involved. We would make art together. We would sketch together. And I have such joyful, fond memories of this. And so when I go into long-term care, I'm really channeling that experience.
How great, and a memory from childhood, and a memory of your mom, and to do this in her honor as well. So I said art party. So what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. So the Beatles are very, very popular. We'll play the Beatles. People will come on in, and they're really sort of leaning into and tapping into joyful memories of different eras. And
this gentleman here.
Yes.
Oh, look at his work.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, they're just beaming. They're always so excited to get started. Picasso once said that everyone is born an artist and the trick is to remain one. And they really have. They've shed all their inhibitions and they dive into art with passion and verve.
And some of these people trying it for the first time, or are they, were they artists in their youth? Like, how does this work?
Well, it is fascinating. So some are new to art, and others might be seasoned pros, actually, who have like a whole body of work. So I love sort of trying to tap into something that everyone can do. So my prompts are usually broad in scope, where you can follow along, or if you want to go on, your own sort of journey, you're welcome to do that.
And one of the ways you do that is through a technique called memory drawing, correct? So what is that?
So memory drawing is a sort of set of exercises, one of which is using contour drawing. And contour drawing is a drawing technique where your pencil doesn't lift off the page as you're rendering, say, a memory of a place. And the idea is that by retaining contact with the page, you are retaining contact with the memory.
That's beautiful, and that's what you're doing right there. This must be so rewarding, not only for the seniors you work with, but for yourself as well. Tell us about what this does for you.
I mean, I love it so much. So outside of working with long-term care centers, I also teach at OCAD University. And what I see there and what I see in long-term care spaces is that community, making art as a community, sharing in those experiences and validating each other, learning together is really beautiful for that growth as artists.
What have some of these senior artists told you about their experience?
I mean, it's so interesting. So sometimes it unlocks specific memories that they'll think back, oh, this, we were drawing a still life of flowers in a vase, and someone said, oh, this reminds me of my grandmother's flowers. And another one had a shared experience. So that it really creates friendships. It creates these windows of opportunity for shared experiences.
It's really incredible. You mentioned that you're an artist. You're a very talented artist. What you didn't see, by the way, everybody, is that right before we went on air, you handed me something. And what did I do? My jaw was on the floor. Can I show everybody what you handed me? Okay. Who can pick this up here? Look at what I'm sorry. What? That's me. The best version of myself right there. It is stunning. So how long would this take, how long did that take you to do?
Maybe 35, 40 minutes.
No way. I'm always amazed, and I said this to you too, the fact that you can look at somebody and be able to put that onto a canvas or a piece of paper. What is your favorite part about teaching others?
Oh, there's so many, but it is the connection you make and meeting new communities, connecting with people, and that art is a real tool for resilience and joy.
It really is. Oh, this here?
Yes. So portraiture is one of my favorite. I render sort of people that are beloved to me, that are special to me, and sometimes with commissions. Yeah.
Look at this. This is your work.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
This is fantastic. Erin, what a great initiative. I just love that you're doing this and bringing so much joy to people, including myself. Thank you. I appreciate the gift.
Thank you, Lindsey.
That's all for us today on Your Morning Weekend. And don't forget, you can scan the QR codes for Your Morning, our newsletter, or listen to more great conversations on Your Morning, the podcast.
We have another great week. Coming up Monday, we're going to meet a Caribbean-Canadian opera singer who is taking social media by storm.
On Tuesday, we'll bring you the results of the Battle River Crowfoot by-election, where Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is hoping to regain a seat in Parliament.
And on Wednesday, tips on how you can help your child transition back to school.
And Thursday, our tech expert Avery Swartz shows us all the hottest back-to-school tech.
And then on Friday, we're celebrating the beginning of our 10th season here at Your Morning. I don't know where the time has gone.
What is time?
What is time? You said it. We have to run. But enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you on Monday.